Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bleeding Orange and Blue. And today we are bringing in a new series where we basically go over what happened in the past Met series in Metsland. It's a way of kind of pulling some of the Mets talk out of some of the podcast episodes, and it kind of opens that up a little bit more to some other sports, allows for some more things to be going on in it instead of me just saying how the Mets suck, why the Mets suck, for all those that don't want to hear about the Mets sucking because they're tired of it and they're Mets fans, or they just don't care about the Mets. So this particular series we'll be reviewing is the Mets versus the Braves. So if you're ready to get right into that, then let's get going. Oh, game one started off in an awful place. We found love in a not nice place. Albies hits a solo shot, and then you got a Frankie bomb with Peter, and they both would hit 2-run shots to make it a 4-1 Mets game. So at this point, everybody's feeling a little good. You had just gotten swept, but you're feeling good again. You're feeling lively. You're feeling like maybe we can go down to Atlanta and take care of business. Then Sean Murphy's going to double in a pair, and Ozuna is going to tie it, which is just, oh my gosh. And this is going to become a common theme, so I hope y'all are paying attention. Carlos Carrasco started off the night pretty well, ends his line 4 earned runs, 4 Ks, 2 walks, and 5 innings pitched, which is not great, but it's better than what Carlos Carrasco was doing earlier in the season. Elder would end his line very similar, 4 earned runs, 8 Ks, 2 walks, and 6 innings. So definitely a little bit better there. Smith would be the losing pitcher. He would give up the 5th run in this game, 2 walks and a K, and he would get the loss in his 1 inning he pitched. Brigham also gives up 1, so the bullpen very, very faulty in game 1. They would lose this 6-4, and the person I chose to harp on in particular here would have to be Daniel Vogelbach, who was put in the lineup again. He went 0 for 4 with 3 Ks. Another common thing that you guys are going to see in this. Let's go on to game 2, though. Pete takes the ball off the wrist. Atlanta fans cheer, mock Pete, saying throw it again, a reference to Pete saying that after he hit that monster home run in the first game of this series. After that, Beatty has a broken bat single to make it 1-0. The corners are stranded, though. Another common theme for the Mets, as Morton had worked out of it. Alvarez hits a knock, and it's going to go all the way over the wall to make it 2-0. And, of course, Arcia cashes in with the bases loaded, and he will get a single there to make it 2-1. Pham homer, which drives in Lindor. The Mets for the second game have a 4-1 lead, but of course the Braves are going to get that tomahawk chop going, and they are going to rally. Sean Murphy with a 2-run slam to make it 4-3, and then Acuna and Michael Harris rally to make it 5-4 Braves. And completely a clown show from the Mets, that the fact that they weren't even in this. I mean, they always just kept blowing it and giving in. And by this point in the 7th inning, 4 of the 9 Mets batters were without a hit in the game by the 7th, which was absolutely pathetic. It was 5, but then I think Brandon Nimmo got a hit. They just looked defeated, and they SNY pan to the bench. You could see Vientos and you could see Escobar just sitting there defeated and absolutely lifeless. But of course, they start to rally, but Acuna makes a highway robbery when he jumps up the wall, steals what could have easily been a double for Tommy Pham and a bases clearing one at that, but it remains 5-5. Scherzer line ends in a bad day. He gives up 5 earned runs, but he does K10 in 5 2/3. He started off really well like Carrasco, and then he just absolutely disappeared. Parrish makes another amazing catch, and Vogie ends his day 0 for 3 with a K and a walk and a double play. So Vogie, again, awful and deflating for this team's lineup. Adam Ottavino nails the coffin as Harris would go on to hammer one off of him over the wall and make it 7-5 Braves. After 2 games, the Mets had blown 2 leads, and they would get a franchise record in Game 3. They would start off with a Riley homer and a Rosario RBI, that being Eddie, not Ahmed, former Met. After 1, and it basically seemed over at this point. Justin Verlander seemed lifeless. But of course, the Mets have to give their fans a little bit of hope. Marte sparked some life with a single to drive in 1 run, and then a key K on Vientos, who just isn't getting enough at bats. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But flipping over the order, Nimmo comes up. He hits a grand slam and make it 5-3. Beatty gets an RBI. Arcia and Acuna also are going to cash in, though, for the Braves, and they will rally to make it 6-5. Verlander has a rough night out there. I didn't totally record the line here, but gave up 5 earned runs. I believe he only went 3 innings, so just absolutely got shelled again. Alvarez is going to get another homer in here. He was red hot as he would launch one to make it 8-5. Pham makes it 9-5 on a double, which this time Acuna wouldn't catch. And then Ozuna homers to make it 9-6. Alvarez homers again in the response to make it 10-6. But of course, the Braves, as they always did in this series, climb back. Rosario starts it with an RBI single, and then Travis and Arcia homer to tie the game 10-10. And you just knew when they tied it, the Mets were going to lose. And that would come to fruition when Tommy Hunter took the mound and Ozzie Albies makes one big bang and sends it over the wall to make it 13-10. It was a sweep that easily could have gone the other way, but at the end of the day, it is so embarrassing for the Mets that they lost a crucial series as I see it. And we also got it revealed, I believe it was released by the Fan, that Billy is making the lineup. So we're going to have to obviously go under that, and Alonso to the IL. So a lot of things to touch on in this series, and obviously I'm going now with a perspective because I didn't get to make this earlier, and I've seen that the Mets have lost 14-7 today to the Pirates, and I'm just going to say the Mets are dead. The Mets are done. I've seen the script written too many times, and I've seen the script written for other teams too. Obviously, some people point to the Phillies. They point to obviously the Nationals. They'll point to, the Braves even when they won the World Series. But I got news for you, fellas. This isn't the Braves. This isn't the Nationals. This isn't the Phillies. This isn't some credible organization that's good at developing talent, that's good at getting away from curses. This is the New York Mets. And the stuff that goes on in this organization is pathetic. I mean, you saw Andy Martino's tweet. It's just unbelievable. They legitimately were flying home to Pittsburgh, or not home, but they're flying to Pittsburgh and their flight got delayed. They ended up coming into Pittsburgh at 4:30 a.m. And it's just the little things like that that show you, like, man, like, it's just never going to happen for them. It just never is. They broke a record for giving up, I believe it was blowing three-run leads in three consecutive games in a series. And yeah, I mean, and you look at it and you say, man, that total differential was what? You lost by a goal. You lost by a run in the last game. You lost by 2 in the first 2. And you say, man, if that bullpen held on, that's a sweep. And that's 2.5 games back. And we're sitting here talking about what can the Mets cook up in Pittsburgh and talking about how they could get back in this East race. But they just were awful. And I completely understand how that changes the outlook. But to me, the Mets are done. I know that there's 99 games left. But just judging from the quotes from Steve Cohen and what Bach said, which I haven't even written in here, and I think it's something that we should just talk about right now. Buck Showalter legitimately said that he was proud of them after the last game. And that's a joke. I mean, that is a joke. There is no one that wanted to hear that because you went down to Atlanta. This is your redemption arc, right? You throw the whole series away the last time you were in Atlanta. You throw it out the window. And then you come down here now, you've got the top end of your guys going besides Cookie, really, but you got JV and you got Max Scherzer, who just like DeGrom and Scherzer last year is supposed to be your mercenaries. They're getting $80 million combined, these guys, to go out there, throw 7 innings, scoreless, and just hand it off to the bullpen and give your team the best shot to win. They played awful. Awful. Okay? Verlander went 3 innings. Tyler McGill went more innings than today by going 3 2/3. And, the Mets pitching staff is pathetic on all levels. There's no one good on it. There's legitimately no one good on it. I mean, Senga is great at home, but the guy's road and home splits are absolutely atrocious and hard to look at. It's like a 6.25 when he's on the road, and he'll pitch on the road tomorrow in Pittsburgh. And the Mets just have so many problems. And to me, they're not being helped by the fact that there's a manager out there who saw them blow 3-run leads. The last one in game 3 was 4. Blow them all, see their bullpen fall apart, see them give up late in the game, and just say, I'm proud of them. You're proud of them? They're on a 6-game skid. light something under him, bro. Get some fire going in this team. Sometimes you got to yell at someone, okay? And we haven't seen a good player accountable manager since Terry Collins. I mean, Miguel Rojas had the thumbs down thing going on and all that, and Buck was working wonders last year. And I don't think they should fire Buck, but man, that quote doesn't help him. That quote does not help him at all. That was a joke, and it was a. I would love to see the quotes that came out today, because if I see anything like that, man, I just don't know what to say about that. But you know what? You know what does free Buck some blame? We learned that he's not making the lineup. Buck isn't even making the lineup. It's so a lot of people that got mad at Buck for making the lineup, right? Now we got to look at Billy. We got to look at the experts that are telling us that we should jam Daniel Vogelback in here. Daniel Vogelback, 0 for 4 with 3 Ks. Add on to that another 0 for 3. This guy's a combined 0 for 7 in this series with a walk and 4 Ks, and he grounded into a double play. And he might have honestly grounded into double play in game 1 too. I don't know. I didn't track it at that point. So you're telling me that the analytics are telling me that this guy, who is about 270 pounds, can't run the bases, can't play the field, can only hit against one side of pitchers, is the guy you want in the lineup as your DH day in, day out, right? And Mark Vientos went out today, and he might have gone 1 for 5, but that's okay. It's perfectly fine. I don't care at all. You know why? Because Mark Vientos is young. He's developing. That's how it works. They have to see pitches at this game. They have to get to game speed. They can't be thrown out and thrown back in. It's just not how you're going to play good baseball. You got to be consistent with your time. You can't be, okay, here's 6 days off, and then we'll throw you back in randomly out of nowhere. We're lucky you got that RBI knock today against the Pirates, which obviously we'll get to. Maybe we'll preview the next series, but I don't really see it that worth it considering it already started. Well, maybe we'll just do that for the next one. But Billy, man, that guy's got to be under so much fire. I mean, and I said it in the podcast. I said this week, it came out yesterday. I think the bullpen is a big testament to how well you can construct a team, because that's really where you play Moneyball in modern times. You are kind of going on these short stops and all these guys. You have very clear, coherent stats, and there's not as many guys that you're going to play Moneyball with. It's either, like, I know that you can play it. I know you can work with on-base percentage and slugging, but to me, a lineup is something that I don't really mess with Moneyball as much. To me, I feel like it's kind of you're good or you're not, and maybe you can find a guy that's a project and develop him, and that shows a lot as a GM. But that's really somewhere where a little bit of money helps, or just drafting and waiting that long process. Either one of those ways is usually how people do it, and that to me is the only way that you're going to get a real superstar there. But in the bullpen, there's guys that will come around every year and we'll have that year, and you got to weed that guy out. Like, I do not remember the guy's name, but we'll just forget about him. I do know. Aaron Loup. Aaron Loup was a pitcher on the Rays who the Mets took a shot on, and he was lights out, and a key long reliever lefty in their bullpen who locked down games in 2021, was great opening bullpen games, which, by the way, they had too many of. Then you go on to the year we just witnessed, 2022. You have Adam Ottavino, who had a 5 ERA that year. He's continuing that again, but he was great, great last year, insane. And you also have Trevor Williams, who's a great long reliever, and he worked in that starting pitching role too, and he would fill in games as depth. And now Billy Epler, instead of spending more money in the bullpen, to me, if you're going all in, go all in. If you're going all in, if you're signing Justin Verlander, if you're going on your training for Francisco Lindor, if you're signing Max Scherzer, if you're signing David Robertson, if you're signing Edwin Diaz to this max deal, then why would you stop at Andrew Chafin? That's a weird place to put your limit. What? You just said, no, we're not going to go into that. We're going to cut ourselves off of that. And that to me makes no sense. Go all in. If you're going all in, go all in. And the Mets are paying that price so poorly, because the thing is, yeah, their starting pitching sucks. It is awful. Tyler McGill should be optioned immediately, so quickly. And I think we might have in here, Lucchesi was dominant the other day, or Lucchesi. And so he's a guy that I could see getting called up for him. But man, Tyler McGill can't pitch again in the major leagues to me. I know that we all hit on Peterson, and rightfully so. He was awful. But Tyler McGill has just been getting shelled recently. And I don't think enough people have been pissed off about it. And I think that's what we need to start doing. We need to start getting on this guy to just get him back over to AAA and let him maybe figure it out. But I don't have that high expectations for that, to be honest with you. I want to try Luke Chasey again, see what he can do. And we need a starting pitcher. The Mets need to trade for a starting pitcher. Like, if they want to be competitive this year, now that to me is one of the ways that there's a couple things that the Mets have to turn around. And it was clear in the series. They gotta get consistency. Consistency is the most important part. Either the defense isn't clicking, or the offense isn't clicking, or the pitch it isn't clicking at the same time. That's how you get stuff like this, right? You go to some of these games on here and over this stretch where, oh, they lost 2-1 to the Blue Jays. Well, the pitching was clicking, but the offense sucked. Oh, well, they lost 10-11 to the Braves. Oh, well, the offense was absolutely firing on all cylinders, but the pitching sucked. 7-5, the pitching sucked, but the offense did score 5 runs. So the Mets haven't been able to click at the same time, and they're going to need to find that as well. And you know what else they're going to do? They're either going to have to go all in for one of these pitchers, or they're going to have to hope that Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer figure it out, because this is unacceptable. I mean, they're getting paid $80 million. And to be honest, I think you got to start seeing if there is any trade interest, anybody that is willing to pick up one of them. And honestly, if there is, I would pull the trigger and trade for a younger guy, and that would be my personal move. You know what? I will admit that I was someone that believed in this method when we were doing it. I figure replacing Jake, he's just only 1 year out from the Cy Young. How quickly could he fall apart? And oh my, oh my, oh my, oh, he fell apart so quickly. Now, he did have one good start in there, so maybe there's a chance that he comes back, but I don't know, man. I mean, this guy doesn't pitch well in October anyway, and that was one of the Mets' problems, was they didn't pitch well in clutch games. And that was one thing that I was actually worried about. Like, I will give myself that. I did worry about that because we saw Max Scherzer did, and we saw how Chris Bassett did in those big games, and we saw how even Jacob deGrom faltered in those games. So they are so done unless they get a pitcher. I mean, and they're gonna have to get one quickly. I think that the guy that I would love for them to go after is Tristan McKenzie, but I know that I know that even Cleveland, if they're falling apart, I think he's going to be a part of a newer age. He's got more control. Cleveland is going to want to do that. They're going to be shopping Shane Bieber instead because he's about to become a free agent. And Shane Bieber, I think the thing about Shane Bieber is he's still got a 3.5 ERA, which is better than Eddie Met. But the thing is that I think from a Cy Young year, I don't want to say he's overrated, but you're going to have to pay a higher price now than what he's worth, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to really be that same guy. So I don't know how I totally fall in love with that. Dylan Cease, man, if that guy comes on the market, I would eat that up. I would eat that up. Oh man, and I know he's been bad this season, but maybe that helps his trade value, but he's young. I would love that. I would love a guy with a little bit more control and just that'd be beautiful. That would be beautiful. Another thing the Mets got to do is these rookies have to keep doing what they're doing. Francisco Alvarez wins Rookie of the Year. I believe they get a comp pick or something in the first round. So they need that. We don't have a first round pick this year. The Mets have to turn this around, and I mean that. And I know in hockey it's very similar. When you don't have a first round pick, there's no reason for you to lose. There's no reason to tank because your first round pick is going to someone else. So you can't rebuild this year. You gotta go all in. The Mets don't have their first round pick. So unless they plan and if there's something in the rule book where you can go under that and you can get your first round pick back, I don't think there is. You got to go all in. This is your moment. This is your time to go all in. And I think Kevin Parada, I think Alex Ramirez, I even think Mark Vientos are guys that should be on the trade block for the Mets. And I say Mark Vientos because I think Mark Vientos could be very good. But, if you got rid of Mark Vientos, I don't know. Like, we already have a third baseman. We already have a first baseman. Mark Vientos isn't going to play in the field anytime soon, from my perspective. And it would be nice to have a full-time DH. But, if there was a team that was willing to take him a part of a larger trade package, I would consider it. If there was a Dylan Cease package or a Pablo Sandoval package that I could get him in, I would definitely do it. And I would do that. Alex Ramirez and Kevin Parada make more sense to me. Kevin Parada is not going to be a Met catcher. I can tell you that right now. Francisco Alvarez defense has significantly improved. I know earlier on we were saying, man, maybe he'll just be a DH, but he's really found his game there. He has really found his game there. So, and the bat has been incredible. So to me, Kevin Parada I just don't see it. But I don't know. I think he's a guy that you definitely consider moving. I mean, he's already, I think, a top 30 prospect in baseball. I can look that up though. I think that's true. Top 100 baseball prospects. And Alex Ramirez is also very highly valued. And there's just a lot of guys in the Mets farm that they already have positions kind of locked up for that'll be coming up soon that It sucks if I'm being completely honest with you. I would love to have guys that aren't, that I would love to have a starting pitcher prospect right now. So Kevin Parada is ranked 26 on MLB Pipeline. He is 21. He has ETAs in 2 years after this. And listen, man, I think there will be a lot of people that would love to have him. I believe he is like second in position to catcher. Yeah, so you could probably get a large prospect haul for him or a large haul of a pitcher or something. So yeah, to me that makes sense. And yeah, we'll see what we see with that. I honestly, I don't know. Yeah, it's tough. It is tough to be a Mets fan. I honestly, I don't know how we do it. I don't know how we wake up and we go through it every day, and the Mets are gonna have to turn it around. I mean, this was unacceptable. It was the same scenario as last year. You had your guys, you had your mercenaries, you had your moneymakers, and they went in there and they just got bullied. And I know a lot of people were talking about it and just saying like the Braves broadcasted Chipper Jones, and they had all these legendary Braves calling it and rubbing it right in our face, and it's just like, oh my gosh. As a Mets fan, you know, I remember when there's an Islanders documentary and it was the 80s guys, and they said, man, like people on Long Island would tell you, like, you better beat the Rangers for us. We don't want to hear it. And that's a real thing. Fans want you to beat their rival because they don't want to hear it. And I know that Atlanta far away, but you hear it on Twitter, you hear it in the news. People still will get to you. They'll make their posts on social media. You don't want to hear it. You want to be the one that's able to talk. You want your team to back up your words and defend you. It's like being defended on the schoolyard. When you're playing your rival, you want them to come to your defense. And unfortunately, the past times we've gone to Atlanta, the Mets haven't even been in the building. And it was just embarrassing. We got stomped on. We got chewed up. We got spit out. We got embarrassed. We got destroyed. We got flat out beat. And embarrassed again by the fact that our manager decided to say, yeah, we're proud of them. So yeah, that's basically what this review thing is going to be about. I'm going to try and hit these every time. I'm probably going to use the other camera next time. It's just, this is more like, just late night kind of recording it, getting it out, and trying it new and fresh. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to follow our Instagram. I think we're one away from getting to 600 followers, so that'd be kind of a cool thing to do. If you aren't already, check out the new podcast. That was just came out Wednesday or Thursday. Today's Friday, so it came out yesterday or Thursday. And it's about NHL finals. It's about the Yankees and Aaron Judge and that kind of debate, and a little bit of loose presser, a little bit of the Ivan Provorov trade. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in. And next week we'll have one too coming out, and it'll be basically about what has happened in all the major forward North American sports. So that'll be something that interests you. I hope you guys check that out. Make sure to give us a follow on all platforms. We're on Twitter too. Subscribe, of course, because why not? You want to see more videos like this. We have other ones already posted that I think are kind of interesting. Poor camera quality, but they're kind of interesting stuff. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and have a good one, everybody. And yeah, have a good day.